Welcome to PID's Hard Mode, which at time of recording I have yet to finish. Hard Mode is unlocked after beating the game at least once on normal difficulty, and for good reason. If a first time player tried the game on hard, they'd probably get frustrated and give up before they even got to the beam. The opening of the game is exactly the same, and it's only at the reception here that things suddenly change. As you can see, even something as basic as jumping over one of those rolling guys is made aggravatingly difficult by an overabundance of spikes. For the first couple of levels that I've played in hard mode, the basic design philosophy is pretty much, if there's a long stretch of level without anything in it, throw in spikes. If the player still isn't dying, throw in enemies. This part is actually not that much harder than normal mode. One just has to realize that the roller guys go straight over you if you hide in the corner. Now that is just an unfair jump, the first of many. Those blue spring-loaded guys are a particularly annoying, annoyance, since they get so much range. Oh, homing rockets. That's just what we need. Now, even something as simple as this basic platforming challenge somehow finds a way to be so much harder than you'd expect. Part of that is due to my slight impatience, but it can't be denied that there's just enough moving menaces here in such a small space to make a really tough time out of it. This is platforming of a caliber that we don't see until at least several hours into the regular mode. This isn't going to be pretty. The smallest spike patches are the ones that anger me the most. It'd help if it was clear exactly where the hitbox is when you're crawling, and where it ends up when going from a crouch to a stand. And this isn't really harder than normal mode at all. Sure, the roller spits rockets now, but apart from that it's exactly the same. Not sure how to get those stars, at least not willing to die to find out. Jump really high to get over the spikes, which are placed really annoyingly. I hate the blue spikes. Really, I just hate them. And then we go get the beam. Nothing different there, so no need to show it. Here's a guy that doesn't show up for quite a while in normal mode. He's basically a moth, and if he's got line of sight to the beam, he'll fly towards it. He's about as annoying here as he is in the place he's introduced in the normal mode. If you jump out of the beam, there's just a slight delay before you get picked up by it again, and it can result in some really annoying deaths like that one. That's obviously why I did exactly the same thing moments later. The moths die to a single hit, like most enemies, but the real challenge in fighting them is getting them to actually follow the beam as you want them to. We'll see more of this as we go along. Small spike patches. Again, they're making even the simplest of movement tasks surprisingly difficult. It's a real testament to the design that nothing about the geometry of the levels needs to be changed to make things harder, even in these cave areas with lots of small ridges that the beam can be used on. It can be really annoying when the moths stop just short of where you want them to. And there's where we needed to get the beam. It's really different now needing to kill almost all of the moths to proceed. In normal mode, we could really just get by them without having to worry about them. Now, one of the little things I love about this game is the deaths. The thwack sound that plays along with the quick tumbling animation, it gives it a satisfying, visceral feel to it, but in a hilarious, cartoony way. It also doesn't waste time. It doesn't linger on the failure before we get to try again. And when death is going to happen several hundred times, and it's going to happen several hundred times, you don't want to be lingering on it long enough to feel like you're wasting time. You definitely don't want to get tired of it, and I for one never do in this game. Oh, come on. Oh, hello. These little blue chaser drones are tricky if you don't know what you're doing with them. You have to understand where it is they aim at. It's easy to assume that they'll move to where you are at the exact point when they start moving, but they actually target where you are as when they puff up slightly, just before they move. It's just enough of a difference in timing to screw you over in tight spots, as well as we'll see a little later. And with that blue spike there is absolutely no way we're going to be getting all the secret constellations in hard mode. Ow. That moth isn't actually really a problem in this area, even though it's a tight space. This is the real problem of this section. The narrow passageway like that is a death sentence when those drones are involved. The tactic is the same as it always is with them, which is to fake them out and just maneuver around them, but there's so little space that it's no small feat to actually pull it off. and then I managed it on the third try. A lot of the reason I've done so well here is that I played through the caves in hard mode about a month ago, and so I do know what I need to do for the most part here. Like with this set of spikes, that proves the designers were just pure evil. Ridiculous. Anyway, you'll soon see what hard mode really looks like once we get past the parts I'm familiar with. The only reason I've come up with for why they don't chase you when you're at the entrance of the room here is that it's to give you a little breathing room, for whatever worth that is. Look at this. Look at what we're being made to do by the game here, and remember that this is within the first 20 minutes. According to some reviewers, PID was too soul-crushingly hard on the regular difficulty. But those people should be thankful it pulled as many punches as it did. These designers can be incredibly cruel. And it doesn't help when the drones refuse to activate. No idea why that one didn't move. I think it might have something to do with the placement of the gem itself, but the moths can be a bit finicky about actually moving towards the beam sometimes. You've already seen it at earlier points in this video. In normal mode it doesn't come up too much, mainly because of the area where they're encountered being fairly open, but here it can be a pain to direct them around. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Haha! And there's the end. Ultimately, that was only about 4 minutes longer than normal mode. Of course, that was with me knowing what to do. From the attic onwards, things should get a little more interesting.